And you can hear me well, everyone on stream? Yes, very good. Um, we have only two people in the room today. It's Adam and Therese. And we have 6 people on stream. Very nice. Um, yes, and it's Liv, Anders, Cecilia, Annika, and Kari. Oh. And we can start by just finding a comfortable position. See to it that you can be relaxed and with your spine straight, preferably. Then for a moment, just forget about any meditation technique or trying to do anything in this space. Just listen to this moment as it is. Just notice your inner experience. Whatever comes. The thoughts are running, just allow them to happen. If there are some emotional content or if the body feels in a certain way, just notice. And by noticing, I don't mean in any way analyzing. Just be aware. And see if you just can stay here without an agenda, without trying to accomplish anything. Even if the mind says, I have felt like this before, this is the state, blah, blah, blah. Just notice the mind talking and start to recognize this moment. Allow it to be fresh and new. And even if you have a sense of dissatisfaction with this moment, refrain from trying to fix it. Just be with it as it is. See if you can allow into this space whatever comes. Even if you perceive those emotions or those thoughts as negative, watch them. Notice that they come, stay for a while, and go. And even if those qualities are stretched out, that something seems to be coming, or seems to stay, or seems to be going, just allow whatever there is. And the judgmental mind can be so quick in catching something and say that you're stuck or draw big conclusions about it. So I want you to just stay with whatever is. I'm not telling you to let go, because let go will tend to feel like an action that you are doing. So you just invite everything. Just allow everything in this moment. If there's a lot of thoughts, just let there be a lot of thoughts. Notice how resisting just creates more. And acceptance creates, goes back to the natural experience of flow. Stay as you are is such simple instructions. But to practice being as you are is for many a challenge. Because they all the time go to being a doer, the one who is doing the practice, who is going to fix something. But that one is also a thought. And this thought of me and I has a very strong grip on most. But it is not real. And as soon as you start to be aware of it, as soon as you're watching it will show its nature of just coming and going. Your experience will be in correlation with what you believe, with what you believe that you are, what you believe what this experience is, in your belief in what other can bring you, all these things. So the greatest part of your experience are not the circumstances, but what you take yourself to be. How you relate to those circumstances is everything. And when you investigate, when you explore who the meditator is, the mind seemed to be saying its things, believing in this or that. But in being a witness of the experience, you will start to notice that the witness is prior to the idea of me. Because the thought that refers to the I can be observed. And if something can be observed, you have to be the thing observing. But this thing is not really a thing. It's not a phenomena or object. It is just pure awareness. It doesn't have a center. It cannot come and go. And this deep sense of awareness, with its expressions in consciousness, can seem so uncontrollable. And you never know when it comes or goes. But in actuality, it does not. It is just obscured by beliefs and ideas. You are always this moment. You are always pure awareness. But you can dream yourself into a person, or buy into the ideas that you suffer your situation. I'm not telling you this so that you should discourage your emotions or your thoughts. I'm telling you this so that you can find out, so that you can investigate this moment and see what is. You can open your eyes, move your body a little bit if you need to. I want to read something from the Ashtavakra Gita. If you don't know about this text, it is a very beautiful one. It is written by Ashtavakra. And if I remember correctly, it's its teaching as told to King Janak. And he says to the king, "My child, you may read and discuss scripture as much as you like, but until you forget everything, you will never live in your heart. You are wise. You play and work and meditate, but still your mind desires that which is beyond everything, where all desires vanish. Striving is the root of sorrow. But who understands this? Only when you are blessed with the understanding of this teaching will you find freedom. Who is lazier than the master? He has trouble even blinking. But only he is happy, no one else. Seeing this, neglecting that, but when the mind stops setting one thing against another, it no longer craves pleasure. It no longer cares for wealth or religious duties or salvation. Craving the pleasures of the senses, you suffer attachment. Disdaining them, you learn detachment. But if you desire nothing and disdain nothing, neither attachment nor detachment blind you. When you live without discrimination, desire arises. When desire persists, feeling of preference arises, of liking and disliking, their root and the branches of the world. From activity, desire, from renunciation, aversion. But the man of wisdom is a child. He never sets one thing against another. It is true, he is a child. If you desire the world, you may try to renounce it in order to escape sorrow. Instead, renounce desire. Then we will be free from sorrow, and the world will not trouble you. If you desire liberation, but you still say mine, if you feel you are the body, you are not a wise man or a seeker. You are simply a person who suffers. Let Hari teach you, or Brahman, both of the lotus, or Shiva himself. Unless you forget everything, you will never live in your heart. And the point that Ashtavakra is making here is that in forgetting everything, the teaching starts with you. I think the common thing is to accumulate information. If you start to be interested in meditation and non-dual meditation or Vedanta, whatever you want to call it, you start to go to talks, you start to read books, accumulate information. But the mind has a problem with this. It is that it's trying to find the right way of relating to the information. It sits in meditation and wonders, am I doing the right thing? Am I just sitting on my pillow thinking? But meditation is not about doing the right thing. It's sometimes the sadhana is to do the wrong thing until you realize what it is. And also go into the unknown place that we call the heart and stay there. And you will scream, but I don't know what to do here. I don't know where to go. And from that point on, you will need faith. You have to ask for something bigger than yourself. You have to bow and say, please help me. I feel lost. And this is a beautiful way because it takes away the arrogance of the person. It takes away the idea that I am doing everything. And when Ashtavakra says forget everything, it is because the intellect cannot guide you into the world of the heart. The intuitive sense of awareness itself, what is referred to in this text as the heart, operates not on the same level as the intellect. So the intellect have a very limited part in all this. It's just an expression. But the longing itself is always in the heart. The longing to know oneself. And when you practice, you can have all kinds of obstacles or feelings. Feelings of not being worthy, feeling of not doing right, feeling confused. All these things. But they do not mean that your sadhana is going poorly in any way. It can actually be much worse if your mind says, I know exactly what I'm doing. That's probably a bigger detour. Because the present moment, an inherent quality of the present moment is that it just is. And it unfolds as it unfolds. It won't unfold to your liking. It will seem like it unfolds to your liking sometimes, and sometimes not to your liking. But the present moment always have the inherent quality of showing you what is. You can say that you experience things as unfair or not nice or soul crushing or whatever term you like to use. But it always shows you. It is an inherent quality of everything to push you towards knowing yourself. And having an intention with that makes the possibility to explore what this moment is. Or, in other words, what you are. And even in the most unspiritual situation that you would find yourself in, this is still the case. But the more you get interested in this, you will avoid certain situations because you notice what they do to your mind. And I don't say that you have to look at that as a strategy and try to find them. That will just be a natural thing. Everything unfolds very organically. But the mind can say that it's not going quick enough or it's going too quick or whatever it is. But everything just unfolds organically. And either you can be with that or you can fight against it. And you can say, I don't care about this. It's just nonsense. I don't care about it. But you would still suffer the same things. So, what I'm talking about here, when sometimes people talk about teaching, I find that ridiculous. Because the only teaching there is to look at the moment as it is. What kind of teaching is that? It's a very short book. So, what we call teaching is just a talk about how the egoic mind does its acrobatics to stay relevant. That's what we talk about, right? Because if we just talk about awareness, there's not much to say about it. I would say that it just is. Because the experience of silence, it's just so much profound than words. Even if words can be beautiful, you can read a book that has the most beautiful descriptions of a place, and you can really see it in your mind's eye, and you can smell the smells, and you see everything so vividly. But it's nothing compared to the beauty of awareness. But it's just that words cannot touch that. It cannot be described. Not really. Because if we are on the level of words, it will always be a limitation. But in awareness, there is no limitation. You're not big or small, not better or worse, because you just are. But we have been given this immense tool that is a thinking mind, where we can have a conversation about what is this experience. And that is not a small feat, because what that brings about is the intention. Understanding that it's possible to have the intention of realizing that. The intention of knowing yourself. And we can contemplate. We can ask ourselves, what is happiness? What gives the sense of meaning? What is this moment? Who am I? These are all good questions. What is reality? Many have a very hard distinction between their dreams and the waking state. One experience is real, the other can be dismissed. But they're just different states, different kind of experiences. Someone was asking Carl Gustav Jung, this famous psychologist, about, he talked a lot about symbolic dreams. And he talked to someone who was very fascinated by this. But Carl Gustav Jung said, but what is it that says that the waking state is not also symbolic? That it also shows us our psychology. It's just that the world is a bit different than the dream state. They're different parameters, but they're very similar in so many ways. And we're so taken by the things that happen in our real life. And we think it's so amazing that I just met this person in the right moment, or that this happened, or that it was terrible that this moment happened in this way. But everything has the possibility to show you what freedom is. That's why so much love the stories of Dattatreya because he just saw wisdom in everyday phenomena. He understood that the waking state is symbolic. And people sometimes refer to mythology as fairy tales. But often these texts, mythological texts, are symbolic stories how to overcome the egoic mind. So maybe those stories are more real than a documentary that can just be skewed and cut in a certain way with a very strict narrative or agenda. And I'm not telling you to believe things or that you have to be very interested in mythology. Just investigate what you think is reality. And in this sense, meditation is very much like science. If you take science to be that you don't know, you just investigate. And that the conclusions are not hard. As someone wrote on Twitter, I believe in science. And a very famous physicist answered, that's not how science works. And the same would be said if you would say, I believe in meditation. That is not a thing to believe in. It's not a philosophy. That's why I say that it's not a philosophy, because a philosophy is something that you would believe in, a thought system. But investigating the nature of yourself is not that. You can have a theory. You can feel that something feels logical. But until you experience it, it's just another thought. And of course, it's good to have a good source so that the things that you believe in before you see it are true. But until you try it, you won't know. Because if you just listen to things you see on the internet, and you can have the feeling that it's just that this is a bunch of philosophies and you can pick and choose. But the investigation into oneself is not a chosen philosophy or a belief. And I know that people enjoy very much the clarity when someone says, this is how it is. You just have to believe this. Here, I present it to you. But if it doesn't come from you, it's just another thing. Look if your beliefs can come and go, if they can be brought on, and if they can fall. This is the beauty of investigating the permanence of the things in your sadhana. Because what doesn't have to be upheld is natural, right? If you have to uphold it time and time again, remind yourself to be positive every day, to be positive, then it's just a strategy. But if you're in this moment and there is deep trust of this moment and very natural trust, you will just feel positive about the outlook of things because that is the natural. But positivity, as all all good qualities, can also be just put on. Try to be like you're playing a part and be forced. And the only thing stopping that is the belief that you are separate and that something is happening to you, that the bitterness that you feel underneath your thin positive surface is not being accepted, is not being allowed to be expressed, is suppressed in some way. And if you allow these things, it will scare you at first because most people suppress them for a reason. And when the gate is open, the old things will come up. And the natural progression of that is that the mind is more still. Because the mind is occupied by all these things, all these beliefs, all these ideas of who you are, all how to relate to all these things that are suppressed. That is the content of most people's minds. And one of the most common things to get stuck in is the idea of strategizing and to use the mind only for your spiritual endeavors. Do not really allow yourself to just be fresh. To start this moment without an agenda. It's very common, I think, to when you sit on your meditation pillow, that there is very much an agenda. Something is going to happen, you're going to get somewhere. And it's all right if that is the start, but at some point that will be very tiring because it will always feel like a chore. It will always feel like something that you have to do. And there is a naturalness to meditation. That you just have to stay as you are in whatever situation. and it will naturally happen. No need to force. Is there any questions today? No? Very good. I thought that we could do the Omkara meditation because we haven't done it in a long time. And so we will do 10 minutes of chanting Om and 15 minutes of silence, and then 10 more minutes of chanting Om. And the 15 minutes, when we are quiet and we just sit, try to be completely still for those 15 minutes. It's not so long. And if you have to move around, do that during the Oms. Any questions about that? Everyone knows what to do. Very good. And if you're in an environment where it's difficult to chant loud, you can always just recite Om mentally in your mind. And if you can express it, that's of course also nice. Om. 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 Oh, 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 Om. 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 I realize now that Karin, I think, is Ola. That right? Yes. That's the confusion that can happen when you borrow someone's computer or device. Um, I thought we could close by maybe singing a bhajan. If you feel like your voices still hold up. Let's go with Sitaram. Sitaram, Jai Jai Ram, 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 Sitaram, Jai Jai Ram. Sitaram, Jai Jai Ram, 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 Sitaram, Jai Jai Ram. Sitaram, Jai Jai Ram, 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 Sitaram, Jai Jai Ram. 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 Thank you. Thank you. In every moment when you remember, come back to being the witness of the experience. Whatever you do in your sadhana or in your life, and always come back to this. It is always accessible, always here. Thank you. And uh, if you have the possibility, um, donations are very much appreciated. Thank you. Okay. Bye bye.